ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track, and ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
Ladies, you'll end up shopping for your guy's deodorant, right? So try Degree's Original Cool Rush. You see, last year, Degree changed the formula, and men were mad. One guy even started a petition. So Degree admitted they messed up and brought the Original Cool Rush scent back. It's clean, crisp, and actually smells like someone you want to cuddle. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So toss one in your cart and find out why it's the best-selling men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The 4 Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The 4 Seasons, May 1st, only on Netflix.
We off?
30 seconds of carefree bliss.
Oof, like wind in your hair carefree.
Oh, like using Clorox Disinfecting All-Purpose Cleaner in the home carefree.
Yes.
Like dog slobbing on the coffee table and cleaning it with Clorox carefree.
He's on a roll now.
Spit toothpaste on the faucet.
You got it. You got it.
Peanut butter on the light switch.
Oh, spritz, spritz.
Spritz, spritz. Clorox, man. Clean feels good.
Okay, we're back.
Use as directed.
This episode is brought to you by Factor. Optimize your nutrition this year with Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal service. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved, ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Choose from 40 weekly options across 8 dietary preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Eat smarter at factormeals.com/listen50 and use code listen50 for 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Factormeals.com/listen50, code listen50. T's and C's apply.
Welcome to the chalkboard, my fellow football nerds, for episode number 191 of Chalk Talk. I am your host, Shane Huff. You can follow me on Twitter at ShaneHuffNFL. I'm joined today by the best co-host in the game. You have heard him on the Tough Cover radio show. It is Mark Henry Jr. Give him a follow on Twitter at Mark Henry Jr. NFL. Mark, how are you doing today?
I'm good. We actually didn't talk about this off air, and I'm not even sure how aware Shane is of this, but Shane and I are enemies today.
Oh?
Are you aware?
I am not aware. Why are we enemies?
So the NBA draft lottery is tonight. And the Sixers have a top 6 protected pick. They finished 5th worst last year. So we have a 10.5% chance at the #1 pick. If the Sixers get the 7th, 8th, or 9th pick, which there is a 36% chance of happening, the Oklahoma City Thunder will get the 7th, 8th, or 9th pick of this year's draft, which would be a travesty and a catastrophe of the highest order, Shane.
It's so weird to me the way NBA does pick trades. It's like, can you imagine that in an NFL world? It's like, we will trade you our first round pick next year, unless it's a top 5 pick, and then you've got to wait another year to get it. It's always funny just thinking about how different drafting stuff is across leagues.
And the thing is, it's because there's so many less players in the NBA than in the NFL. So the value of the first pick is just immeasurably higher in the NBA than in the NFL, and so on, so down through the 10th pick. But the thing is, once you get to like the 11th pick of the NBA, I'd say, or maybe the 15th, whatever you want to draw that line at, the NFL's 15th pick means infinitely more than the NBA's 15th pick. So there starts to be a breaking point there. But this is from a trade from 5 years ago that we made basically just to cut salary to get Al Horford out of town. So it would be all time like chickens coming to roost, or whatever the saying is from 5 years ago, for us to get screwed after this horrible season would be unbelievable. I would be absolutely miserable tonight if that happens. And Shane wouldn't even know it would have happened.
Go Thunder. That's my official stance on that. It's also crazy that it's like, oh yeah, we traded this draft pick 5 years ago. Can you imagine a team? The Saints would be the team that did it. But can you imagine a team like trading a 2030 NFL draft pick in 2025? That's kind of crazy too. But I don't know. You guys didn't come here to hear us talk about basketball, though. You came here to hear us invent topics to talk about in the middle of May in the NFL calendar. And we're going to do that. And we're diving into one of our favorite series of the offseason. It is our annual NFL expansion draft series. This is going to be a 3-part series. We do it every offseason. You can go listen to past off seasons if you would like to in the feed. What we do is over the period of 3 shows, we will go through every roster in the NFL and establish protected players for a hypothetical NFL expansion draft. And so this week, we're going to do the NFC protections. Next week, the AFC protections. The following week, we will come back and we will compile collaboratively an NFL expansion team stealing one unprotected player from each of the 32 NFL teams. And then we'll talk about how we think that team would do in their inaugural season. Last year, we made it way too easy. We're pretty sure our expansion team would have won the Super Bowl. And last year, it was 4 protected players on each side of the ball, and the first-round pick from the previous draft was also automatically protected. This year, we're basically adding an additional player on each side of the ball. So we're going to be protecting 5 offensive players, 5 defensive players, and 1 wild card pick from each team. And then we'll come back, like I said, in 2 weeks to glean players from that team and build our expansion team. And so, Mark, this is always interesting to look at some of these teams, and some of them it is really hard to narrow it down to 6 or even 7 guys on a side of the ball. Some teams, it's like, man, I wish I could keep 8 on defense and I only need 3 on offense. And some teams, it's like, I don't know. I don't even want to protect any of these guys. And so we'll dive into it. It's a good way to talk about the rosters, the relative strength in the NFL and where we're at on these guys. And so let's dive in and start off with the NFC East. And we'll start, as we always do, with the Philadelphia Eagles, which are an interesting conversation, I think. So let's dive in. I mean, you're obviously keeping Jalen Hurts on offense. That's a given. You're keeping A.J. Brown is a given. I think Jordan Mailata is going to be a given. Then you get into conversations with 2 more picks on offense. You've got Saquon, Lane Johnson, both, and Dallas Goedert for that matter, all kind of older guys that are more like win now. You've got Devontae Smith, who is a younger guy, less impactful for the team right now than Saquon or Lane Johnson. And so you get into a lot of discussions about who you want to keep here. I kind of feel like in the Super Bowl window here, you're probably keeping Saquon and Lane. Is that kind of where you're at, Mark?
Yeah, and I think this is where the wild card is coming on offense. Like, I think all the 6 names you just said are who you have to keep. And I would say Lane and Saquon. Or actually, it's funny. This is crazy. Mailata was more of an if for me than Lane and Saquon. That's how elite Lane and Saquon are. And I know Mailata's younger, so that shouldn't even be a question. But it was actually Mailata / Devontae for my last spot, and I had Mailata. But I would go with those 5, and Smith as the 6th wild card.
As the wild card, and that's not even touching like Landon Dickerson, who's really good on the interior too.
Yeah.
So
I think you can lock in that being our pick from the Eagles expansion draft, probably.
Probably, yeah. So, all right. So we'll keep Devontae as our wild card pick, which gives us 5 on the defensive side of the ball. Jalen Carter, Zach Bond, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Shahad Campbell.
Oh, for me, it's easily Nolan Smith.
Yeah, those were the 6 names that I had because I wasn't sure which way we would go on the defensive side of the ball. So you got Nolan Smith. I'm cool with that. Nolan Smith. You need Shahad Campbell. You've already got a really good linebacker in Zach Bond. So
if I was going to keep Shahad, it would probably be over Bond.
I would remotely consider that. Yeah.
So yeah, for me, I think Nolan. I would lock Nolan in over Bond. That's how high I am going forward on Nolan. And obviously, the edge rusher is, there's obviously added value to that position, and you have him for what, 2 more years on a cheapish deal, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly how that deal was structured, but that sounds about right.
First round pick, so 4 years, and then you get the 5th year, right? That was his 2nd year, so I think you have him pretty controlled over the next couple of years here. So I think you have to keep Nolan. And so Jihad ends up being, I think it actually comes down to Jihad or Devontae.
Yeah. Which is an interesting discussion, because for a team that's going to run the ball a ton, do you keep the wide receiver too? I think you probably do, though.
Yeah. I probably would too.
Because you're still holding out hope too that, you're going to get Nakobe Dean back eventually, and you drafted Trotter last year. And so I think Devontae for the wild card makes sense.
And it's funny because I think we're going to be one of the only teams that doesn't keep their 1st round pick in this scenario. That's
what I was going to say. It says something about the roster that a team that traded up in the 1st round to take a guy, and it's not even one of the guys that we're protecting. So,
and I don't think he's the guy we'll draft.
No, I don't think so either. So the Eagles keep Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, and then on defense, Jalen Carter, Zach Bond, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, and Nolan Smith. So I feel good about that. Let's roll on to the Dallas Cowboys. Talk to me on offense for the Cowboys.
Dak. And I think almost every quarterback that isn't terrible is going to get kept for me in this scenario. But CD.
Yes, I agree.
Tyler Smith.
Agree.
Cooper Beebe.
Oh,
you know what? I did do this before George Pickens.
Yeah, that's what so I think you're keeping Tyler Booker.
I have Booker too.
Yeah, so you get into George Pickens, Cooper Beebe. I would probably lean Pickens since you've already kept 2 offensive linemen.
Yeah, I guess let's keep BB as a potential wild card option, but those are the 5 on offense. I did this with pre-Pickens. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, Jake Ferguson. I also jotted down, but mostly I jot down more guys than we're going to keep, so it's a cheat sheet when I go back to steals. So, defensively, I feel like, the first few are easy. You're going to keep Micah Parsons. You're going to keep Osa Odigizua. You're going to keep Deron Bland and Trevon Diggs.
Yep.
And so then I wrote down either Damone Clark or Jack Sanborn. Clark was really good last year, got injured. They got Sanborn from Chicago. I feel like they'd probably keep one of those 2 linebackers.
I actually had their 2nd and 3rd round pick.
Okay.
I had Ezeraku and Siobhan Revel, and I was I thought we would, but I'm down to, I'm not that passionate about this spot. Second, neither of us
do Ezeraku.
Yeah, I know neither of us are that high on Ezeraku, but I know there's a lot of people out there who think that was one of the steals of the draft where they got him.
Okay, so if we keep Ezeraku, that gives us 5 on each side. So that basically gives you Cooper Beebe, Revel, Clark, Sanborn.
I'll let you pick this one. I feel like I would probably lean BB, but I'm not.
Yeah, let's go BB because they already kept 2 cornerbacks. So I don't think keeping the 3rd cornerback that was a 3rd round pick makes sense there. So let's go Cooper BB for the Cowboys.
And by the way, a theme for me, I found myself protecting O linemen a ton here. And I feel like that was something we didn't do last year. I felt like maybe looking back at it and looking at the team we had, I felt like we undervalued O-line a little bit. And it's a little easier when you have 5 spots instead of 4 and even 6 spots in some cases. But looking at the last 2 free agencies and draft with seeing guys get vaulted up the board and seeing guys get way, like Dan Moore got whatever he got to, and he's like, might not be a starting tackle. I forget the amount of money he got, but it was crazy. And there was a lot of cases of that. So I found myself protecting O-linemen like crazy.
Yeah. I think a lot of times last year we were like, well, we've got 3 good O-linemen, and so they can only take 1, so let's just leave them unprotected. I think that if I recall correctly, we did that a lot last year.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair too when we were doing 4 or 5. But yeah, I think that's something I kept in mind a little bit going through it here, just looking at my board.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go to the Giants. This is a team that's hard to find 5 on offense, but Malik Neighbors, Andrew Thomas are easy. I went ahead and put John Michael Schmitz.
Yep.
Even though I don't think he's great, but he's a young offensive lineman. I put Jackson Dart. I mean, they traded up into the first round for Dart. I wouldn't have done it, but they did, so they would protect him. And then I went Darius Slayton. I mean, I don't know who else to put on offense.
I'm an anti-Slayton guy. I thought that contract was crazy.
I do too. The best thing that could happen for them is maybe if he got stolen by some team just to break the habit, make you quit him cold turkey.
I put the running backs. I put Tyrone Tracy, who, by the way, had 1,000 yards last year, I think, but also PFF had him graded out as one of the worst running backs in football, which is an interesting. I don't take it with a grain of salt, but I thought that was interesting to see. And then Cam Scatterbo. I wrote Tracy or Scatterbo if you wanted to just take a swing on a rookie and sneak him in there, or if you wanted to take the guy who showed he could at least do it admirably somewhat last year. But those are the two guys I threw in.
Let's go Tracy.
Okay.
We'll go Tyrone Tracy for the 5th. On the defensive side, where did you look at the Giants defense?
Abdul Carter.
Yep.
Brian Burns.
Yep.
Kayvon Thibodeau.
Okay.
Dexter Lawrence.
Okay.
4 defensive linemen to start off there. And then I put Andrew Phillips in a safety. I think the safety was kind of up in the air for which one I was even willing to pick.
It's Javon Holland 100% for me.
I think if I saw Javon Holland, I think I would have put them right in. I might have scooted right by Javon Holland. Maybe I just didn't write his name down.
Javon
honestly,
Holland.
You could convince me to go Javon Holland and Tyler Nubin over any corners.
See, I had Paul. I really like Paulson Adebo too.
I'm fine with Adebo.
I would maybe almost
do Holland and Adebo. Let's do Holland and Adebo.
Okay, I was gonna say I would maybe almost leave Kayvon Thibodeau off since they've got 3 offense or defensive linemen to get either Phillips or Nubin in there too.
I'm still really high on Thibodeau. I think people are dumb about Thibodeau, including the Giants themselves for thinking that edge was a need, I guess. But I'd say let's go. Let's keep Thibodeau in and go with Adebo and Holland. And we'll knock Phillips out. Phillips isn't a bad option for us, by the way.
Yeah. So this is one of those teams, by the way, I would gladly keep 2 less guys on offense to keep more guys on defense. But
definitely.
So Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, Paulson Adebo, and Javon Holland for the Giants defense.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay, on to the Commanders.
I know where this is going to go. Before we even start, I know the guy we're going to argue on.
Okay, we'll see if you're right. So they're keeping Jaden Daniels on offense. They're keeping Terry McLaurin, Laramie Tunsil, Sam Cosme, and then Andrew Wiley.
No,
Michael Gallup. I wasn't sure where to go with the 5th guy.
Devo.
Nah.
I knew that's where we'd go. But no, I think they have to keep Connerly, the first round pick.
I had
Debo as the wild card for me as the 6th guy. I don't think you can keep I don't think Wiley's that good, and you have Connerly and Tunsil now. I don't think Wiley's going to start for them. But it's honestly good for them to keep them around.
Connerly.
Well, you might.
They don't list it. He's not listed as the starter on the ESPN depth chart.
So you go ESPN. How I do it, I look at PFF rosters, and part of them, the one column has the positional rankings on the year. Sometimes if there's a rookie, I'll skim past it because they didn't have a positional ranking, and so I'll miss rookies every once in a while too. I'm sure we'll find one that I miss.
Yeah, I totally forgot about Connerly when I was making the list. I didn't even see him. So,
but they're a team that I think you're keeping 6 on offense. We'll talk defense now. So I think we'll be coming back to that. I think it's Debo. I really do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk offense or defense. So, who do you have defensively that you want to keep?
I only have 4 I'm confident in, or 4 I'm passionate about, and I'll let you pick the 5th.
Okay.
As long as we have the same 4. But Sainer still.
Yep.
Frankie Louvu. Drazan Newton.
Yep.
And Trey Amos.
Yes, I have all of those. I also had let's see.
I had DT ? Was what I wrote down. So I'm pulling up the board.
So I also wrote down, I wrote down several names. Marshawn Lattimore's there. Deron Payne, Bobby Wagner. I mean, there's some guys. Dorrance Armstrong is still there. So I think any of those guys could make sense for your fifth guy on defense.
I think it was when I put DT ? I think that was referring to Payne.
Yeah.
Deron Payne.
I think Payne is probably the way that I would lean, especially when you look at a division that's got, the Eagles rushing attack, and then you've got the Giants. You would assume they're going to run the ball a lot, considering the fact they don't have a quarterback. Let's go Payne. So we'll keep Payne, Luvu, Sanderstill, Amos, and Newton.
By the way, not great.
Yeah.
We're just talking about like a top 5 on defense. Like, this is one of the, and I'll kind of note these teams as we go through it. Coming out just so far, Dallas and Washington, I think I came out less impressed than I was expecting going into this exercise.
Yeah. So that comes down to, I'm taking Wiley's completely off the table because of Connerly. I forgot about that. So you either keep a receiver on offense, which would probably be Debo over Gallup, or you keep like Marshawn Lattimore, Dorrance Armstrong, Bobby Wagner.
I think it's probably Debo or Brian Robinson. I would go Debo.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Brian Robinson's like, how you feel about Debo, it might be how I feel about Brian Robinson. I think that guy is like not a top 30 running back, but just has gotten carries.
Yeah. Debo is washed.
He could be. He could be, but I do still think there's an upside there. If it comes out that maybe he's healthy now, or I did feel like he put on some weight, so maybe he needs to be. I'll tell you what, he needs to be a best shape of his life guy this summer.
We're getting close to that season.
We might need to make a list of that. Who needs to be a best shape of their life guy? That might be offensive. But
no, what we need to do is track the people that come out with they're in the best shape of their life and see how many of them it was said about them last year too.
Yeah. We have to do something with best shape of their life. There's something there with a podcast episode in the middle of the summer.
All right. So we'll keep Debo for our sixth guy on offense. If I'll say this, if there's a place that Debo can still be a good player in the league, it should be Washington.
I agree.
With Cliff Kingsbury and with Jaden Daniels. So we'll see on that. So let's keep rolling. Let's go to the NFC North next. Let's start with the Green Bay Packers. Who do you have on offense for the Packers?
Jordan Love.
Yep.
Josh Jacobs.
Agreed.
And here's where it gets crazy. I just wrote 4 O linemen. I have Zach Tom, I have Rasheed Walker, and I have Sean Ryan, and then I had one more that I didn't write the name down of, but I'm assuming, was it Jordan Morgan or was it no, probably either Jordan Morgan, Elton Jenkins. There's a couple O-line options, but I feel like they don't need to protect any wide receiver on the roster.
Yeah, they have like 7 number 2 wide receivers. So
they kind of have like 7 pretty good O-linemen too. It's a weird. They are really deep. They have a lot of options. I think this is actually like the scariest team in the NFC to me.
What about Tucker Kraft?
I'm fine with Kraft. I'd rather go Kraft than any receiver.
Agreed. I think you protect Kraft.
And then you pick the 3 O-linemen. I don't know. I think Tom and Walker, and then I don't know.
Yeah, Tom and Walker for sure. Love Jacobs, Kraft. And then
Love Jacobs, Kraft, Tom Walker, and then if we need a 6th spot, because I also have 6 guys on defense, so maybe we just keep the 6 guys on defense. But
yeah, if we keep one of the other offensive linemen, I feel like it's
probably
good. Elton Jenkins.
Yeah.
But I could be convinced a lot of different ways there. So
Sean Ryan was a guy I loved coming out of the draft who finally got kind of a chance last year and played fine. Aaron Banks, I think he was. They just signed him from San Fran. I think the pretty good money actually.
Way too much money.
Yeah, so maybe that means $77 million over 4 years. that goes back to what I was talking
We're
about.
leaving him unprotected and praying the expansion team takes him.
Which we might still, just because who knows what our cap situation probably isn't going to be that bad. We're not paying a quarterback that much. So, but
also we're not actually looking at contracts for this.
We consider it, but I'd say it's more of like a tiebreaker than anything.
In real life, though, if I'm the Packers, would be like, we probably shouldn't have paid a below average offensive guard $77 million. Let's leave him unprotected. We'll give you a draft pick if you steal him from us.
He graded out average. He might not be below average, but no, I know. I hear you.
All right. So defense, I wrote down Kenny Clark.
Yep.
Rashawn Gary.
Yep.
Edgerrin Cooper.
Yep.
Jair Alexander. And Xavier McKinney. Who's your sixth guy?
Devontae Wyatt was my sixth guy.
Okay, so it comes down to Devontae Wyatt or another guard. I feel like you keep Wyatt because if you keep one guard, the other guard probably gets stolen. So if you don't have a strong preference between Ryan and Banks, maybe you just leave them both unprotected.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up, quick stats here to try to justify anything. Yeah, I lean Devontae Wyatt. Graded out above average as a starting D tackle last year. So obviously I'm going to keep saying take PFF with a grain of salt. But 5 sacks, 5.5 the year before. Yeah, let's go Wyatt. 10.5 sacks last 2 years. Why not? From D tackle.
All right. So Devontae Wyatt it is. That brings us to the Detroit Lions. So offensively, this one was tough for me. Where did you go on offense?
Yeah, this was tough for me as well. I think you have to go Goff.
Yeah.
Jahmyr
Don't like
Gibbs.
it, but you have to.
Yeah. Jahmyr Gibbs, because he's gone if you put him out there at all.
Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra, Penei Sewell.
Uh-huh.
And then I think that's where the definites end. I went with Sam Laporta.
Yeah.
And then I Taylor Decker or Frank Ragnow.
See, the problem is I want to keep Sam Laporta, Taylor Decker, and Frank Ragnow. I want to keep all of them, and you can't. I feel like Laporta is really important.
He really regressed last year statistically. I will say that.
Yeah.
For the argument of keeping, I mean, I have Laporta in, but if you want to go the other two, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Let me pull up Laporta's stats last year.
How old is Frank Ragnow?
28.
And how old is Taylor Decker? Feels like he's been in the
31
league forever.
31.
Yeah.
He's probably the one you cut if you're cutting an O-lineman. But yeah, Laporta went from 86 catches to 60, 10 touchdowns. I guess it's really only the catches. The yards and touchdowns didn't go down that much, but 26 less catches.
Let's keep Laporta and Ragnow.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
Man, I hate cutting Taylor Decker loose, though.
He'll be our tackle.
And Jameson Williams is still there. Like, they got a loaded offense.
They do.
So we already used our wild card. Yeah. We can only use 5 on defense.
Which I only have 4.
Aiden Hutchinson. I've got 5. Well, actually, I have 6 written down. Aiden Hutchinson, Aleem McNeil.
Yeah.
Brian Branch.
Yep.
Terrion Arnold.
I didn't have him written down, but you're right.
And then where it gets tough for me is DJ Reed, who I also think is a really good player, and Kirby Joseph.
I'm passionate about Kirby Joseph. I think Kirby Joseph's like a top 5 safety.
Yeah. I think he's really good.
Really like Kirby Joseph.
And I also think, like, at that point, you'd be keeping all 3 corners and not keeping a safety. So I think that's probably the way. But DJ Reed.
You can pick between Reed and Arnold. Yeah, I don't have a passionate take there.
Yeah, let's keep Arnold.
Gotcha.
All right, so nice. Good defense there for the Lions if they can stay healthy.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I came out feeling pretty good about the Lions roster, but I still am kind of going to project a little bit of a comeback because coordinators. I think losing both coordinators is going to make some of those players maybe not look as good as we think they are right now.
Yeah, especially Goff. Goff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So let's go to the Minnesota Vikings. Offensively, I mean, they're going to protect J.J. McCarthy. They traded up for him. They're going to keep him.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison are both staying.
Yeah.
And then I think you get into Christian Darrisaw. I feel like Christian Darrisaw's got to stay.
Got to keep him.
Then Brian O'Neill, you keep him. TJ Hawkinson, Aaron Jones. It kind of depends on what you want to do with what is essentially a rookie quarterback.
I think you got to go Hawkinson. Okay. I would go Hawkinson. He was obviously hurt last year and came back, so his stats look a little weird. But and then I had the sixth name I had written down was Donovan Jackson, who they took in the first round. But neither of us are as high on him as obviously they were.
Yeah, I thought that was a terrible pick. But that's a fair point. Well, so McCarthy, Jefferson, Addison, Darrisaw, and Hawkinson. We'll circle back potentially for the sixth, because I struggled with their defense.
Same.
So who did you write down defensively?
Dallas Turner.
Jonathan
Grenard.
Yeah.
Who's older. Andrew Van Ginkel, who's also older.
Yeah, I got those three.
Jonathan Allen, who they just signed.
Okay, I didn't have him, but I'm fine with it.
And Byron Murphy.
I had Byron Murphy. The other guy I had as a potential was Ivan Pace Jr.
You know what? He's the sixth guy.
You think Pace over Aaron Jones, Donovan Jackson, Brian O'Neill?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. We can roll with it. Got a comment coming in here from Cam on YouTube saying he's behind on the stream, but only protected 3 linemen for the Eagles together: Mailata, Carter, Nolan Smith, and you responded. We also kept Lane. Yeah, kept Lane and
Devontae. Tell us who we're missing. Who should we have thrown back? Should it been? He's probably going to say, I guess, Dickerson for Devontae, maybe, which is a fair argument.
Yeah, you could argue that for sure.
Fair argument. Yeah. I don't think you can make an argument for Jordan Davis. I don't think you can make an argument for
Jalix Hunt.
Yeah, I don't think there's any arguments on the D line.
Yeah, there's the Eagles D line's not great in terms of proven players right now.
I believe
edge rushers. I believe in it, but it's not great.
I'm a Uche guy. I that's going to be my brand this offseason.
Oh yeah,
Big Uche season coming. I love Josh Uche. I love that pickup. So I actually think he's going to work himself into a role. And I do believe in Jalix Hunt. I do think Jalix Hunt's going to step into a role. But what are we talking about? We can't protect him over Zach Bond or whoever. I don't know. I don't know who the argument would have been on defense.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you guys play along at home. Let us know, even if you're listening later, especially with the Eagles. I know a lot of our listeners are Eagles fans because we're in an Eagles podcast feed. So let us know who you would have protected, because I always think that's interesting to talk about. But let's roll on to the Chicago Bears.
Acura's all-new ADX, a compact SUV that isn't just built for one thing. It's precision crafted for everything. To escape the grind with available all-wheel drive. To go with your flow with available Google built-in.
Hey Google, turn it up.
Okay, turning up the volume. And crafted to be heard with an available Bang & Olufsen premium sound system. The all-new Acura ADX, crafted to match your energy. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Take your vibes on go.
Google is a trademark of Google LLC.
Last week was our first playoff game, and my plaque psoriasis was so itchy under all my gear. Sometimes just thinking about scratching could take me out of the moment. And then my doctor told me I could get clearer skin with a pill called Otezla.
Otezla apremilast is a prescription medicine used to treat adult patients with plaque psoriasis for whom phototherapy or systemic therapy is appropriate. Otezla can help you get clearer skin after just 4 months.
Okay, ready for the next game. Talking to my doctor about a pill was a total game changer.
Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla. Call 1-844-4-OTEZLA or visit Otezla.com for prescribing info about cost, and more.
This podcast is supported by Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. RVs are for sharing adventures with family, friends, and even your pets. So if you bring your cats and dogs along for the ride, you'll want Progressive RV insurance. They protect your cats and dogs like family by offering up to $1,000 in optional coverage for vet bills in case of an RV accident, making it a great companion for the responsible pet owner who loves to travel. See Progressive's other benefits and more when you quote RV insurance at Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Pet injury is an additional coverage and subject to policy terms.
Offense. Caleb Williams. Then you get into there's 3 receivers. DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Luther Burden. So are you going to protect all 3?
You got to keep Rome.
Yeah. And then you get into offensive linemen. Braxton Jones, Joe Tooney, I think are both good players.
You got to keep Loveland, too.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about Loveland.
I think you got to go Caleb, Rome, Loveland. And then it's Darnell, Tooney, Jones, Moore, Burden.
Yes. So Caleb, Williams, Rome Odunze, Colston, Loveland. I feel like you keep Braxton Jones and Joe Tooney.
Yeah. I'm fine with that. I think, yeah.
We probably circle back and keep one of the other receivers.
I think you probably keep Darnell Wright.
Or Darnell Wright.
Over the receivers. Yeah, and Joe Chick, interesting, no Burden. I'm not a Burden guy.
I wasn't either.
So he has, to me, he has so much of the bust wide receiver package, like the Rager, the Sammy Watkins. Like I just think he's got a lot of the things that if you looked back on some of the guys who we've been high on, who have been first round picks and figured out, why didn't they pan out? I feel like Burden's got a lot of those.
Yeah, I think
good situation for him though, I guess, with Caleb.
Yeah, I think we can go ahead and say we're going to keep a 6th guy on offense because their defense kind of stinks. So Darnell Wright, I think is probably the guy.
Yeah, and I think they should have traded DJ Moore, especially now that you have Burden. It seemed like DJ Moore was openly sabotaging the team at times last year, and not talking to anyone on the sidelines. And there's some people who were then arguing oh, that's just DJ Moore and that's what he does. Seems like DJ Moore is a little bit of a weird character to me, and it didn't seem like he and Caleb loved each other. He had the weird thing with Bajan. I think they should have dealed DJ Moore. That's my own personal thing. Though.
All right, so we keep Caleb Williams, Rome Odunze, Braxton Jones, Joe Tooney, Colston Loveland, Darnell Wright.
To Joe's point, I would keep Burden over Moore.
I think I would too. Okay, defensively, Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon, I feel like are the for sure guys.
Definitely. I think Gervon Dexter has to be a for sure guy.
Okay.
And then after that it opens up.
Maybe Kevin Byard, TJ Edwards.
I had Montez Sweat, TJ Edwards.
Okay. I'm definitely good with that. I don't love Byard either. So
yeah, I just think he's washed.
Okay, so Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, Gervon Dexter, TJ Edwards, Montez Sweat.
Yeah. You could argue for Grady Jarrett too, I guess, but he's just so old.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was at with Jarrett as well. So, okay, let's go to the NFC South, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're going to keep Baker Mayfield, Bucky Irving.
Yep.
Mike Evans.
I didn't keep a receiver on the roster.
You didn't keep any. Okay.
I didn't keep any.
Okay, well, so I would also like to keep Tristan Wirfs, Cody Mock, and Luke Godecki.
And Graham Barton.
Yeah. I would probably leave Barton because he's a center, but I guess
I went Baker, Bucky, and then the four linemen.
Yeah, I guess that's where you kind of get it. So I guess you kind of got to decide, would you rather keep your O-line or your receivers?
You probably got to go. You probably have to throw one of those linemen back and keep Mike Evans. You're probably right. I was probably being too disrespectful.
But if you do that, then you're definitely losing your first round pick and Egbuka.
I don't think you can protect. Yeah, if you want to say Egbuka instead of Evans, I'm open to that conversation. I don't think you can protect two receivers. I think the O-line are too. And
I don't think you can keep a rookie over Evans, though.
Yeah, you're probably right. And I don't think it's part of why we hated the pick in terms of taking a receiver there, because it's like you have three guys. Now, there's the argument that Chris Godwin might be done after that injury, which is like, then why'd you give him like $80 million or whatever he got? But I This is a tough one.
Let's keep Evans.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you just keep the 4 linemen and say, like, if they take Evans, we keep Egbuka, and if they take Egbuka, we still have Evans, but we protected our whole O-line?
I'm open to either. I actually think I'd throw back Gadecki before Barton.
Yeah.
On a rookie deal, still Barton.
Yeah. Let's do Evans, Wirfs, Mock, and Barton.
Yeah. And Baker and Bucky.
Yeah. So that leaves Egbuka and Gadecki potentially exposed.
And Godwin. But that's another situation. We're not talking a lot about contracts. If they could get someone to take that contract, I think you would.
Yeah. It's funny. If we could get somebody to take the contract we literally just signed.
Yeah. So stupid.
Some teams are stupid.
I don't get that Chris Godwin contract at all if you go and draft Egbuka. It makes sense if you whatever. It's a whole other thing.
Yeah. Go listen to our draft recap show, our draft grades. We talked about that in depth. But onto the defensive side, what did you keep there?
Zion McCollum.
Okay.
Yaya Diaby.
I have him.
Antoine Winfield.
I have him.
Benjamin Morrison.
I did not have him.
And then I did not write a 5th name down, but I think that was a mistake. I don't think that was because there wasn't a name. I think there's a lot of options, actually.
Jamel Dean, Kalijah Kancey, and Vita Vea are 3 guys that I was having to try to pick between 2 of. I
think I would probably go Jamel Dean with Vea's age. And I think, at least according to PFF, Kalijah Kancey had a rough year last year.
Yeah. I still like Kalijah Kancey.
I like Kancey too.
But so that's
for Morrison.
Yeah.
I don't care about the 5th spot. I'll play for Morrison though.
Okay. I'll give you Morrison over Kancey, but I don't like it.
Well, wait, then what? So it's McCollum, Diaby, Winfield, Morrison, and who?
Jamel Dean.
Would you rather go Kancey over Dean?
I don't think so. I think I like Jamel Dean better.
I had Morrison ranked like 11th overall, so I've got to back it up there. He still went in the 2nd. It's not like he was like 3rd round pick.
Yeah. Okay, so Yaya Diaby, Jamel Dean, Antoine Winfield, Zion McCollum, Benjamin Morrison. That is a very secondary heavy.
Yeah. They've got a great secondary.
But yeah.
That's another, I liked Morrison a lot. That's probably another luxury pick by them in Tampa.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the Falcons. So where we have a quarterback conversation because you have Michael Penix Jr. and you have Kirk Cousins. And we both kind of feel like a lot of Kirk's issue last year was the injury stuff. Is this a spot where you potentially don't protect a quarterback? I mean, I feel like the Falcons would because they traded up and took Penix, but it's not the Falcons. It's us. So would you potentially leave both quarterbacks unprotected here, knowing you walk out with one no matter what?
I think you've got to keep Penix. Maybe I'm missing. I think there's only 6 names to really go for here. And I don't think the defense is that deep. I have 6 names on defense, I guess, too. But let's
talk the other names then. So you're going to keep Brian Robinson.
Bijan.
I don't know why I read that as
no, that's a
you're going to keep Bijan Robinson. You're going to keep Drake London.
Drake London, who, by the way, I did not realize had the season he had last year. Had like 100 catches. He was like a top 5 fantasy receiver. I didn't realize Drake London was on that level until I was looking at stats for this year's fantasy season.
Yeah. Chris Lindstrom, Jake Matthews, and Matthew Bergeron were all 3 offensive linemen I liked.
I had the same 6.
And then Kyle Pitts is out there, but Kyle Pitts really hasn't panned out. So you could keep Michael Penix with that group, and that gives you 6 on offense.
Yeah. I think the conversation comes down to, do you go 6 on offense or 6 on defense? But yeah.
Okay, so tentatively, let's say 6 on offense. Penix, Brian, I said it again. Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Chris Lindstrom, Jake Matthews, Matthew Bergeron. Defensively, I mean, they've got to keep James Pierce.
I had Caleb McGarry over Jake Matthews, actually.
Okay.
Let me see where I'm curious. The ages here.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, you look that up.
Matthews is 33. McGarry's 30.
Yeah.
I'm fine with Matthews. That's fine. I thought there was a bigger age gap.
Okay. So defensively, you're going to keep James Pierce Jr. and Jalen Walker. Basically that's your three first round picks. Traded a future first. You're going to keep Jesse Bates. You're going to keep AJ Terrell.
Yeah.
And then it came down to Caden Ellis or Mike Hughes for me.
I had Clark Phillips or Xavier Watts.
Xavier Watts. You're keeping Xavier Watts.
I'm fine with it. Obviously.
We both had a first round grade on Xavier Watts.
Yeah. I had him 16th overall. So, and third round pick, what a steal in my opinion. But
who was the other one you had?
Clark Phillips was the other name, but I'm fine. Oh wait, though that means we're at 6. No, we're at 5 then. Never mind. Take Clark Phillips out.
Yeah. Okay. So James Pierce Jr., Jalen Walker, Jesse Bates, AJ Terrell, Xavier Watts.
Yeah.
So Joe
secondary
Ciccoletti says the release of Kyle Pitts, finally, all caps. Kyle Pitts is out of here, except I don't know that he's the guy that's going to get stolen. Cam says, keep Penix, protect the future. You probably end up with both staying on the team anyway.
Kirk's our quarterback.
Yeah, Kirk will definitely be the quarter, which kind of makes the rest of the conversation of who to keep defensively irrelevant. Like, by not protecting Kirk, he's going to be the quarterback for the expansion team, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, not to spoil an episode 2 weeks from now, but
that'll be the first pick.
That'll be the first pick. First.
He's going to be on our team media guides.
Yeah, ugh. Don't love that. Okay, offense for the Panthers. Who'd you take offensively?
Bryce Young.
Yep.
Tet McMillan.
Agreed.
Ike Ekwonu, who actually had a bounce back year last year.
Which made me feel good because I really liked Ekwonu.
And then I just wrote 3 O-linemen.
Yeah. Taylor Moton.
Definitely
keep.
And then Hunt and Lewis.
Yeah.
You could argue
for Chuba Hubbard or Xavier Leggett.
I think Chuba is a little bit of a carries merchant too. I'm not a big Chuba guy. I'd go with O-lineman.
I agree with Bryce Young, especially. I think I want to keep Bryce Young as protected as possible, and you kept his wide receiver you just went and got. So this is one. I do not have 5 names even written down on defense, so I might have missed somebody, but I have Nick Scorton, Derek Brown, J.C. Horn, Trevon Morig.
Princely Uman Maleen.
Yeah, that's
third round pick. So we had the same 4, and then I had Princely.
Yeah, Princely makes sense. Wasn't listed as a starter. Totally forgot about him. Okay, that takes us to the Saints. This is another interesting one. This is a team you're not protecting a quarterback for because they don't even have one. But I wrote down for offense Eric McCoy, Chris Olave, Talisi Fuaga, Cesar Ruiz, and Rashid Shaheed.
You didn't put Kelvin Banks in there.
Kelvin Banks. Alvin Kamara too.
So I had Kamara, McCoy, Banks, Fuaga, Ruiz.
Kelvin Banks was such a bad first round pick, man.
10th pick, though. They have to keep him.
Yeah,
I had him 45th or something, 47th, I think. I forget exactly, but
yeah. So Kelvin Banks, Eric McCoy, Chris Olave.
Oh, I didn't have Olave actually. I don't know.
Really? Did you forget him, or was that conscious choice?
He would be my 6th name. He would be my 6th name. He's got. I don't know if he's ever he has another concussion. He might never play again.
Yeah. So so you have McCoy, Fuaga, Banks,
Ruiz,
Kamara. I guess when you have no quarterback, you might as well keep 4 offensive linemen and a running back.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Olave's I only have 5 names on defense, so I think Olave's probably the wild card.
Yeah, probably. Let's look defense and come back to him. Who'd you write down?
Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I got him.
Justin Reed.
Yep.
Pete Werner.
Okay, I didn't have him down.
Not passionate about it though, so don't worry.
Okay.
Chase Young.
Yeah, I have Chase Young.
And then Carl Granderson.
I have Granderson.
Who did you have other than Werner?
Cam Jordan, but
I'm fine with doing it just as like a franchise. The team sucks anyway. He's a lifetime. Yeah. Put Jordan on there. Put Jordan on there.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that's like, honestly, like the Saints with Carr retiring now. I put a tweet out about this today. The Saints should hit the reset button. Like they've been chasing it since Breeze retired 4 years ago and refused to hit reset. You're literally entering the year with Tyler Shuck as your starting quarterback now. Like you're going to be terrible. I know it sucks, but trade Cam Jordan, like trade the Honey Badger, trade Justin Reed, trade Alvin Kamara, just tear it down and get out of all these bad contracts that you've kicked money into and swallow the dead cap. Hit the reset button, and then you're going to sit here with so much money to spend in free agency next year. And if you spend it wisely, and you're going to have the number 1 pick, if you spend it wisely and the quarterback ends up being good, you could be a competitor in 2026, not for the Super Bowl, but for your division. And you do it from a healthier place. You've got a first-year head coach in. This is the year to do it. Like they need to hit the reset button since Carr is retiring. I don't think they will, because we've got years of evidence that they won't, but that's what they should be doing.
The Browns perked their ears up and said, wait a second, they're going to be the number 1 pick?
Yeah. The Browns drafted like 17 quarterbacks. I mean,
yeah, I think it's going to be a Saints-Browns fight for that number 1 pick. I think those teams are both going to stink.
If I'm Arch Manning and the Saints and the Browns are 1 and 2, I'm going back to Texas.
Yeah,
no chance I'm playing for
it
either of those teams.
His dad or his grandpa was a Saint. He's named after a Saint. They would love it if he was a Saint.
Yeah.
The Browns, on the other hand, is a different conversation.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, no chance going to the Browns. Cameron says that's what kills these GMs and owners. They're too stubborn to admit they messed up. Makes no sense. Swallow your pride and tear it down.
Well, their GM is their owner, right? Mickey Loomis.
Is he the owner?
Is he not? I let me look this up.
I don't know if he is
already.
That would explain why he hasn't been fired. It's the only reasonable explanation I could come up with, but that doesn't mean he is.
Let me. Oh no! The reason there was never mind. I think we've done this on a pod before. He partially owned the Pelicans and he was running the Pelicans at one time, so I always get it mixed up because the same people who own the Saints owned the Pelicans. I don't think they still do.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's keep rolling. Let's go to the Los Angeles Rams, our last division for today. Offensively, I had 6 names. It doesn't mean I want to keep all 6 necessarily, but Matthew Stafford, Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Ulrich Jackson, and Rob Havenstein were my 6 names on offense.
I didn't have Havenstein. I had the other 5.
Okay.
And then I had Dotson and Avila as the potential wild cards.
Yeah, man, Avila too.
It's one of those 3, Dotson, Avila, Havenstein. I don't care. We'll probably draft one of the other ones. I only have 4 on defense.
Okay, who's your 4 on defense? We'll come back to the offense.
Jared Verse.
Yeah, agreed.
Poona Ford.
Okay.
Braden Fisk. Kobe Turner. I had 4 defensive linemen. That's literally all I had.
Cameron Kinchins.
Yeah, that's fine. I did write S, and I thought I just didn't finish that. I probably just meant one of the safeties.
Yeah, I could see an argument for also keeping Ahkello Witherspoon, but I wouldn't keep him over Avila or Havenstein. So
yeah, just go Kinchins.
Okay, so Kinchins gives us 5 on defense. You want Avila or Havenstein? Avila?
Let's do Avila.
He's way younger.
Yeah, let's do Avila.
Plays on the interior, but this is an old team that needs to be younger.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the Seattle Seahawks. Offensively, I mean, I guess you're keeping Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
But don't like it. Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah.
Charles Cross.
Yeah.
Gray Zabel.
Yep.
And then I have both Noah Fant and Kenneth Walker written down if we use 6 on offense.
I have Abe Lucas written down.
Yeah.
The tackle. I'm anti. Let's go to defense real fast. So we have those 4. I also will throw in that I think Milroe should be in consideration too.
Yeah. I wondered if Milroe would end up being our expansion quarterback.
It's not a bad idea if we don't protect him.
Yeah. Defense. Leonard Williams, Julian Love, Devon Witherspoon. I feel like you for sure keep those 3.
I had all 3.
Okay.
Wait, you said Williams, Love, Witherspoon?
Yes.
You have to keep Byron Murphy and Woolen too, I think.
Yeah. I didn't know on Woolen because they seemed kind of out on him.
He's still really good.
I thought so. You also have, Kobe Bryant is there as well.
I didn't have Kobe. I like Kobe Bryant. I actually had Boye Mafe as the 6th name.
Yeah, I had Mafe written down. I had Jaron Reed written down as well.
I think you're definitely going 6 on defense. I think Williams, Murphy, Woolen, Witherspoon, Love, and then a 6th.
Williams, Woolen, Witherspoon, Love. Are you sure on Murphy?
Yeah, they picked him so high last year. He was pretty good too. I'm pretty sure.
I would almost leave Murphy off.
I think you liked him a lot more than I did, if we're being honest.
I think I did too, but
no, I'm pretty sure there's Seahawks fans out there were really happy with Murphy in year 1. Only a half sack.
Yeah, he didn't do a lot last year.
Well, how did he grade out? Let me take a look here. See, average. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we don't. Maybe no Murphy.
Let's scratch Murphy for now.
I'm fine with that.
So Leonard Williams, Julian Love, Devon Witherspoon, Tariq Woolen.
I think Mafe.
Boye Mafe.
I think Mafe's in there.
Okay, so that leaves us picking between. So we could either keep a Kobe Bryant, Jaron Reed for a 6th guy on defense, or we could keep. We didn't actually figure out who our 5th was on offense. Abraham Lucas.
Yeah.
Okay, so on offense we have Darnold, Zabel, Charles Cross, JSN, and Abraham Lucas. So we're either keeping.
I'll leave it to you. Would you rather go Lucas or Milroe?
Well, you could do both if we use the wild card on offense.
This is the toughest team so far for me. I can't figure out which way to go. I think let's do the wild card on offense. Let's go Lucas and Milroe.
All right.
Which takes Milroe away from us, but
yeah. I don't even love Milroe, but if he figures it out, he's going to be really good. And I don't love Darnold. You could go big brain and not protect Darnold or Milroe and assume the expansion team will take Darnold.
Is Shador going to end up being our quarterback? Is that what we're going to talk ourselves into?
Could be.
I actually don't hate it. But yeah, I think we keep Milroe. I actually kind of like I like the Milroe move for them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I thought it was a great fit for them.
I really like the value they got there. And I'm not the biggest Milroe guy, but there's an obvious upside.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to repeat these because we waffled on this one for a lot.
This one was the toughest one for sure.
So we kept Sam Darnold, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Charles Cross, Gray Zabel, Abraham Lucas, Jalen Milroe on offense.
Yeah.
On defense, Leonard Williams, Julian Love, Devon Witherspoon, Tariq Woolen, and Boye Mafe.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to give Byron Murphy a call, see if he's got any upside next year.
Yeah. Cameron says we're back to Kirk being the face of our team. Jalen Milroe would have been a much better face of the team. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know, man. Kirk, that guy, Kirk O'Chains. If you get some of the footage of him on the plane with all the chains around his neck and the grills on, that's what we'll be putting on all of our merchandise.
Or we could just make Shadur Sanders our guy and hire Primetime to be our coach of our expansion team.
We could go all in on You Like That with Kirk. Just everything is You Like That.
I hate our expansion team so much already. Okay, let's go to the Arizona Cardinals. Offensively, I mean, they're going to keep Kyler and Marvin Harrison Jr. for sure.
Trey McBride.
They're going to keep Trey McBride. I feel like they're going to keep Paris Johnson.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you think for the 5th spot?
I had Jonah Williams.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I didn't have a 6th name written down, though. So I guess you could argue James Conner.
Yeah, I don't think I would not want to be in the business of protecting James Conner.
I agree with you. I agree. He might. I don't have a 6th name though on either side for a wild card. Who did you have written down that I didn't say?
Nobody.
I
don't love the offense all around. But yeah, so Murray Harrison Jr., McBride, Paris Johnson Jr., Jonah Williams.
And then on defense, I went Walter Nolan.
Yeah.
Will Johnson.
Yes.
Josh Sweat.
Yep.
Garrett Williams.
Okay.
And then I put Budda Baker, who's old at this point.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to who did I leave off for Budda? You could maybe Max Melton did not play well as a rookie last year.
Sean Murphy Bunting. Or Baron Browning.
Bunting.
Probably one of those two. I think Sean Murphy Bunting.
Yeah, go with Sean Murphy Bunting.
So we'll do Josh Sweat, Walter Nolan, Will Johnson, Garrett Williams, Budda Baker, and Sean Murphy Bunting.
So that's 6, yeah. Yep.
That's 6, 4 secondary, 2 defensive linemen.
Yeah, that's the way to go there.
Cam chiming in that we can't even think of enough of Gannon's players to protect.
It's not a great roster. I will say the offense has no business being as bad as it is. That top 4, Kyler, Marv, Trey, really good O-lineman, and Paris Johnson should be a better offense. The fact that their offensive coordinator is coming back is a joke. Drew Petzing's a moron.
Yeah. Their offense should be better for sure. And that's the kind of thing we talked about. I don't know how you can bring back the same OC, head coach, quarterback pairing for the 3rd year in a row when you've been disappointing. But
yeah, you've shown regression, if anything.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the 49ers. I mean, I guess you're going to protect Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
He's fine.
This is a tough team also.
Christian McCaffrey, or do you just think he's just not ever going to be healthy again?
He was my wild card. I put my 5th and 6th names were Christian McCaffrey and Trent Williams.
It's hard to be like, they're only good when McCaffrey's healthy. So it's like
same with Trent Williams.
Yeah. So it's like, I feel like you have to keep him, but also are they just never going to be healthy again? Ayuk and Kittle you're keeping.
Yeah.
Who else do you have down?
Pearsall? I went Purdy, Ayuk, Kittle, McCaffrey, Williams. And then my 6th was Dom Pooney.
Yeah.
I don't want to do Pearsall. I actually think Jawan Jennings might just be fine.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like, I don't know if that's where we'd even go if we're drafting, but I think you're fine with either of those. Pooney graded out as the 6th best guard on PFF last year.
Yeah. Pooney is definitely the 6th guy, I think, if you're going to keep 6, because you're right. I think Pearsall could be something, but if he's not, I think you're still okay with McCaffrey, Ayuk, Kittle, Jennings.
Yeah.
So we'll say Pooney if we only keep 5 on defense. On defense, where did you go?
Bosa.
Yeah.
Fred Warner. Michael Williams, who they took really high. I'm not a big fan, but
agreed. But he's still a guy you protect for sure.
And then I put Renardo Green and Demador Lenore.
Yeah. I think that's fine. I mean,
neither of them knock your socks off for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else I would even.
Jair Brown, safety, young guy.
Yeah, I think you keep the 5 on defense and you keep Pooney on offense.
Win total's 10.5. Like I don't get it. I don't get how this team's going to be good next year.
I don't either. So Purdy, McCaffrey, Ayuk, Kittle, Williams, and Pooney on offense. Bosa, Warner, Michael Williams, Renardo Green, Diamador Lenore on defense. Yeah, their roster is just not very good anymore. They definitely have missed the window. We said that last year. Their window is officially closed. They're not winning a Super Bowl. But it's crazy just to look at it, how quickly it closes on you.
I don't know, and I don't think it has, and this is a tease for our next episode when we do the AFC. It may have happened with Kansas City. I don't know if that can happen when you have Patrick Mahomes on your team. That might be a situation where you'll always find your way back. But I think they might be in a similar roster situation to where we saw San Fran heading into last year.
Yeah. By the way, another potential quarterback for our expansion team. McCorkle Jones.
Oh, no. Get out of here. End this episode.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for our NFC expansion draft protections. Like I said, next week we will do our AFC protections. And then the following week, we will circle back and make our expansion team, taking one team from each roster. I feel like our team will maybe be okay. Just based off who was left unprotected in the NFC, there's some guys that we can go get. Cameron says, when you can't decide like this, let the expansion team make the decision for you, would be my philosophy in these situations. We kind of did that at a few spots. But Mark, before we get out of here, you got any final thoughts?
I'm trying to think of backup quarterbacks like Jimmy G.
Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett.
Daniel Jones.
Josh Dobbs. No, I'm not taking Daniel Jones.
Are the Colts even going to protect Anthony Richardson?
No, I don't think. I'd have to look at who I protected. I don't think the Colts can protect a quarterback. Now I'm just thinking about if Kirk Cousins is our knight in shining armor, if we're missing someone.
You know what the expansion team should do? The expansion team should get to like their 22 starters they'd have to have, and then they should just take like every backup have 10 quarterbacks.
Yeah,
have Shadur Sanders, have Anthony Richardson, have Mac Jones. Maybe one of them will hit.
I forget how do we break down the 32? Do we take 2 quarterbacks? I think we do, right?
We fill out. We ended up having wild cards. So like, I think it was like we take 3 offensive tackles, 4 interior offensive linemen, 4 receivers, 2 tight ends, 2 running backs, 2 there's some backups on there.
Yeah.
We can end up with more than one quarterback for sure.
Yeah. Interesting. I think it's Kirk and Shador, baby. I think that's where we're headed.
So inspiring.
We had Minshew last year and we thought we were winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And look how Minshew flamed out this year.
We're not offering a contract back to Minshew.
Hey, the rest of that team was awesome.
It was.
I don't know. You sent me the tweet where we had it.
Oh, it's absurd. It's an absurd team. It still looks absurd.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up.
There was a crazy lion on there. I don't remember who the lion. I don't want to say it was Penei Sewell. It might have been Penei Sewell.
It was Taylor Moton.
Taylor Decker.
Or Taylor.
Yeah, Decker.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I looked at
Carolina. Yeah. We probably had.
Here we go. Just for reference, here was our team last year. We ended up with Gardner Minshew, Bijan Robinson, Josh Jacobs, T. Higgins, DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, Keenan Allen, Travis Kelce, TJ Hawkinson, Teron Armstead, Zach Martin, Frank Ragnow, Quentin Nelson, Lane Johnson. That was stupid.
Ragnow.
Taylor
Moton.
Moton.
And Johnson's crazy.
Yeah. I think Gardner Minshew could have worked with that offense.
The receivers aren't great. T. Higgins is really good. The other receivers weren't great. The defense is really good.
Yeah, defense was awesome. Khalil Mack, Javon Hargrave, Malcolm Roach, Chase Young, Bobby Okereke, Patrick Queen, Christian Harris, Denzel Ward, Michael Carter, Rasul Douglas, Emmanuel Forbes. Gross. Cam Curl, Julian Love.
For that.
I know you did. Odafe Owe, Chase McLaughlin. We did kicker punter last year.
Kicker punter so disrespectful to whatever team we take the kicker and punter from. That's actually disrespectful that it was Tampa last year. That's bad.
Yeah. Cam asked who didn't protect Lane Johnson. Well, we only got to keep 4.
Yeah.
And then you were required to keep the first round pick as the wild card, which was a defensive player. So the Eagles only got 4, and I'm assuming it was Hurts, Brown, Saquon. Actually, it might not have even been Saquon. Hurts, Brown, Dickerson. Yeah, Mailata. I don't remember exactly what it was, but
I think it was Hurts, Brown, Saquon, Mailata, or Hurts, Brown, Dickerson, Mailata. Mailata was definitely in there, though.
Yeah. Part of the reason that we're doing 5 this year instead of 4, because that was pretty rough. But anyways, there you have it, guys. I guess that was our final thoughts. I don't know.
Honestly, I thought this was going to be a 90-minute show. So an hour 5 in and out.
Yeah. Also, I had a comment here asking if anybody was be on for the schedule release. I'm going to assume, I'm not promising, I'm going to assume Birds of the Round Table is probably going to cover that tomorrow night. So I bet that will be the topic of discussion. So tune in then, and I'm sure there will be some schedule release thoughts, some early win-loss totals and things like that. So if that's your speed, go check that out tomorrow night. Should be live at 8:00 Eastern time. It'll be in the podcast feed the next morning. Thank you guys for joining this episode, number 191 of Chalk Talk. If you enjoy what you heard on the show, we know that you do. Smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single episode. Drop us a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow me on Twitter and YouTube at Shane Half NFL. Mark is on Twitter at Mark Henry Jr. And we will catch you guys next time.